है एक बार सोच के मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी, और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में ये अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है, वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी ये एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन ही नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया।
Good evening, friends. A very warm welcome to our Business Opportunity over Chai Prime. This special edition Business Opportunity over Chai will help you to understand this greatest business opportunities we have with Franchise India. Today, we have invited a great brand called Direct English. To know more about this business opportunity, I would like to invite MD of Franchise India Brands Limited, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary, on this platform.
Great. Thank you, Harshika. Friends, very good evening to everyone who's listening us live on the webinar and all our friends who have actually made an effort to come this evening today. So I take this opportunity of welcoming you all and also welcoming the panel and a very special guest of the day. We have Mr. Mark Simpson, who is the Business Development Head leading the entire project of Direct English in the global market, along with Ms. Cheska Whitcomb. Hi, Mark. Very good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Sonia, for that wonderful introduction.
And we also have Ms. Cheska Whitcomb, and she heads the entire marketing for Direct English at the global level. And we have both of them who are joining directly from UK, headquartered in London. And friends, just to give a little perspective on the opportunity before I invite Mr. Gaurav Mare, who's chairman of the company, I'd like to set a brief introduction about the company, and then formally let Gaurav invite Mark and Cheska to present the opportunity. And along with us, we also have a lead consultant, Ashok, who's working on this project. And in fact, we have made and customized the model for the Indian market. So friends, Direct English is an English language learning provider which is supporting the entire international network of their partners, and they also have been working in this industry, and nearly thousands of adults worldwide, they have developed confidence in the entire English language. The company, as we speak, Direct English, is a part of a big group called Linguaphone Group, which was established in 1901. So almost 120 years, of legacy the company has. While Direct English was formed in 1997, and today, as we speak, the company is operating in nearly 20 countries across the globe. And through their physical centers and also through a very innovative online group training model, which is called Direct English Live. And the Lingua Group has been a very big pioneer in the language learning and publishing, in terms of millions of language students worldwide. And they've actually built a very confident, they've built a curriculum in order to build very confidence and language skills via their successful method, which kind of integrates listening, understanding, and speaking skills. And today, the group is proud to operate in markets worldwide via their language learning brands, LinguaPhone UK, Pingo English, and of course, Direct English. And they've enabled thousands of adults to master the English language and also earn a very, I would say, professional qualification and a valuable qualification through their blended learning method. And no doubt, they are today a global leader in the English language training system. And this is the first time ever, friends, we're bringing this opportunity for the Indian market. And we have devised the entire structure. We have actually divided the market into 20 big zones. And I'd like to talk that maybe later as we take the presentation through with all of you. But before we do that, I'll let Gaurav maybe give his perspective on the overall industry and the opportunity that we bring to all of you.
Thank you, Sonia, and welcome, friends. Welcome to a very, very special edition with Direct English. I have known Direct English for over a decade and a half, and because of my work in international franchising, and I've seen the business not only just spread to 20 countries, but this is also a very responsible brand because they have very big legacy of 120 years of education and skilling. And so they're very responsible in terms of the market entry to getting their performance and eventually their results for students who participate in any of the centers with Direct English. So at Franchise India, we are extremely proud and very happy to have this partnership with Direct English. And we are also very happy that this is a perfect timing for this opportunity because we feel with the kind of legacy and the experience Direct English has, we will be able to make a phenomenal impact in language learning in India, especially English. And English is a great opportunity in India because if you look at the stats, only 10% of the population can either understand a little bit or speak, when it means that they're still not skilled completely on language, and they need to be skilled. So you have a very large total addressable market, which can be students, it can be professionals, it can be people at different levels of their working experiences would need to really skill up their learning for English language. Also, anybody who's looking to relocate overseas, study overseas, would have to also compulsorily pass through a learning program. And there are different modules, and I will let Mark talk about that in detail and maybe give you a little overview about what is the plan for India, what the programs are done, how they've globally been very, very successful. So friends, please use this platform to ask as many questions. There is a Q&A box. Please ask your questions on a Q&A box. We will take up your questions and really take it to the panel. And as Sonia said, we're very excited because India is a large country, and we have now divided into clusters, and the clusters would have one partner who would have an opportunity to develop that region and also have deeper capabilities and understanding of that region. So friends, let's get started with today's webinar. Welcome you, Mark, if you can really take up the panel now and start the presentation, and then subsequently we can even bring in Ashok to do that. I will also introduce Persis, who works in the corporate office of Franchise India. She's a lead account head for that. She and her team would work on every single interest which you would get. Obviously, you have to fill in a expression of interest form, and once we receive that, we will be able to process your interest further on. Obviously, you need to give us a lot of details, which we will send it to you. So Persis, you also put your direct number on the chat box so that people can start sending you WhatsApp messages or contact you for doing it. So welcome, Mark.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Gaurav, for that great introduction. I have a copy of the presentation here, or is Persis going to load it from your side, or how would you like it to happen?
You can do it. I think you can directly.
I will load it from my side.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good evening, everybody, and welcome to this session. Thank you, Gaurav, for that great introduction. I see Ashok's just starting up the screen now. Here we go. Wonderful. Great. So as Gaurav explained, if you want to give me control, Ashok, I can then zoom through.
Yes, you have the control on.
Wonderful, fantastic. Let's go to that view. Fantastic. Great. So let me, go back one. Live TV here, guys. Hang on a second. Need to go back one more. Wonderful. Okay. So as Gaurav very kindly gave an introduction to the Linguaphone Group, who are the owners of the Direct English brand worldwide. You know, we are a company that has been in business of teaching languages and nothing but languages, particularly the English language, for over 100 years. And you know, India is not a market that is new to us either. We know India quite well, but you know that we also have very good operations in early years in our Pingu's English brand in the region. So it's as I say, Asia, the Middle East is a whole area where we are operating quite well. So as a company, we're in 20 countries worldwide, and each one of those comes up with a master licensee, and each country tends to run its own model. The great thing about Direct English is that you have, if you like, both the ability to create physical centers where students can come to you and run face-to-face classes, but more dynamically, we have an online version and operation, and that itself can be run in many different ways. We have the Delhi program, which is our blue chip online English language learning program, which allows you to scale from the minute you sign a contract with us. You know, we can get those courses up and running because the teachers are our teachers, you know, based around the world, qualified English teachers who will teach your students on our curriculum. All they need to do is to log in, and you can start teaching straight away. I think also, you know, the one thing that can be done obviously is those resources can be, the online resources can be still be used in the face-to-face context too. So students can still visit a center, but access digital resources through their mobile phones or through their laptops and what have you. And that whole digital library, if you like, of learning that we offer across the 8 levels of Direct English allows you to scale very, very quickly, indeed. So if you want to go to the next slide, please, Ashok. Shall I just, oh, hang on a sec, I'll try. It's just not working for me, that's all.
Oh, so just, I'll claim back the control.
Okay. Wonderful. So a little bit about Louis Alexander, because he's a hero of mine. You know, Louis Alexander really changed the way people learned English. He, like a lot of men of his generation, was caught up at the, if you like, particularly the back end of the Second World War. And in the early 1950s, one thing he was charged with doing, it's not on this slide, there's a bit of extra history if you like, was actually working with Germans in Germany to get them to speak English so that they could benefit from what was known as the Marshall Plan, where the United States and various other countries started investing in Germany to rebuild it after the war. But of course, many Germans didn't speak English. And the army, being the army, gave him a wonderful objective of teaching a very large group of Germans English in 6 weeks. He had to create a curriculum, he had to create a method of learning, which, if you like, introduced people who were complete beginners in English to be able to get them up to some, you know, good proficiency in the language. And he was actually credited with being the first author of English to create a tailored course book for a curriculum. You know, there'd been grammar books around for many, many years. And actually, Louis wrote Longman's Book of Grammar and achieved a Guinness Book of Records for that. But he was also one of the first authors to specifically create course books for learners and learning resources dedicated to support one particular curriculum. Importantly, as language learning evolved, Louis Alexander also became one of the original founding chairs of what is now known today as the European Framework for the References of Language, or CEFR, or CEFR for short, CEFR. The CEFR is a benchmark by which all languages have particular, if you like, can-do achievements and are graded from A to B, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, with C2 being the highest and A1 being the lowest that you could achieve. And as a chairman of what used to be known as the early part of A1 and B1, you know, he really knew how that CEFR or the CEFR scale worked. And when he authored Direct English in 1997, you know, Direct English was mapped to that European framework of common frame of languages, because that was his bread and butter too. That was a really powerful thing to do, because every exam today, and it doesn't matter whether it's PES, IELTS, you know, or a TOEIC qualification, what have you, all of those qualifications are also mapped to the European framework for languages. And that's key, because that means I can tell my customer where they need to start their journey to achieve a particular learning goal. If you've got customers that want to be at university anywhere in the world, Australia, United Kingdom, USA, they will need to achieve a certain level of English proficiency. You know, and IELTS scores on listening, speaking, usage, all of that, same sort of thing that we teach. So when somebody comes to Direct English, we don't just sell them an English course. You know, we sell them a solution. We give them a placement test, which is online. And we were one of the first systems to go with a lot of early online resources, the placement test being the first, where we can tell them where their journey should start. If they tell us they need, for instance, an IELTS 6.5, we can map that on the CEFR. We know where they need to get in terms of their proficiency. So 6.5 is B2C1. So we know where their journey needs to go, how many levels exactly of our course they will need to take. It may only be one, it may be three. It's the beauty of having a solution that scales, is that we can fit a solution to their needs. And Direct English Live itself, during COVID, as you know, the world shut down. I think India was actually one of the last countries to shut down. You guys really bravely stuck it out as long as you possibly could. Some could argue that had consequences later on, you know, but we won't go into the dark history that was COVID. But the simple fact is, those kinds of crises are with us every living day. It could be a tsunami in Tokyo, you know, in Japan. It could be yet another viral attack somewhere along the line. You know, more and more, as there are more humans on this planet, we seem to be having more and more interruptions to our normal ways of life, whether that's through climate change or what have you. Online learning, particularly with Direct English Live, gives you the ability to keep going on whatever happens. And Direct English Live is a unique proposition. You use our teachers here from the UK to teach your students in India. All your team has to do is sell the course. Okay, so you sell the course at whatever price suits you, whatever price the model works for you. You know, and yes, for sure, there is a fee for running the course that comes back to us here in London. But at the end of the day, you know, you're running a program where you have zero need for a center, zero need for any resources in place, because all of that learning is online. The students can log in to our exclusive LMS, access the courses they need to do, and through that system, get a link into a live class with a live qualified English teacher, native English teacher. Great. Next slide, please, Ashok. Great. So I've been through a lot of these benefits already. It's half the fun of live TV, but I think certainly it's not just, it's direct English, if you like, is a three-legged chair or a three-legged stool. Or one leg is definitely our curriculum, a solid curriculum backed up by solid content. The third part is the infrastructure. We have invested an awful lot in our learning management system. We use, at the moment, we have an agreement with Zoom at an enterprise level to support our live classes. And that's why, you will see we have a tailored URL from Zoom for all of our classes under the Direct English Live name. It's not just go to Zoom, it's go to Direct English Live. And that's key. But the third leg, of course, are the quality of our teachers. All of our teachers are recruited and interviewed by our academic team, who are ferocious in their selection. When they have been selected, they then go through an onboarding session. All of our teachers then have to sit as observers in classes to watch how practice teachers do deliver the program, and then they're given their own sets of courses. A lot of our students, if you look at Trustpilot for directenglishlive.com, the one thing you will always hear from our students is a fantastic relationship they have with our teachers and how integrated all of the learning material is with what they're being taught. So, and I think that's key, because we support our teachers as much as we do our students and our customers. And our teachers go into classes with full lesson plans. They know exactly what they need to deliver, and they do their job of being a professional educator really, really well. And the students love it. And that's something you can't bottle up and sell. It's something, marketing professionals find it really hard to sort of put into a campaign or an ad, that kind of passion, that kind of connection. Direct English Live essentially sells itself once a student joins the course. And in our business, re-enrollment is key. And one thing you will see with Direct English Live is a lot of students who studied at least one level will come back and do at least 2 or 3 levels. Our record so far is in Thailand, believe it or not. We had a young lady, she was only 12 years old, not necessarily our target market, I hasten to add, but hey, she wanted to learn English, and she went through all 8 levels online with Direct English. Okay, and she did that in 3 years. So, it is very, very possible to learn a lot very, very quickly. And she's now a very proficient, obviously fluent speaker with English, having studied with Direct English. Great. Ashok, next slide, please, sir. Okay, so, the methodology that Louis Alexander developed is really interesting. It's based on a secular syllabus. So what that means is the students are taught meaningful chunks of language and told the rules of grammar. And that is, if you like, recycled as they go through the curriculum. So they get to practice again what they've been taught. So for example, if you go to like level 1, unit 1, lesson 1, the whole subject matter is greetings. How do you introduce yourself? Hello, my name's Mark Simpson. Hello, this is, Cheska Whitcomb. She is my colleague in marketing. So you do all of these sort of greetings at unit 1, level 1, lesson 1. If you go to, it's still in level 1. If you go to unit 4, lesson 1, okay, the theme is not so much greetings, but it is, what do you do? But to just explain what you do, you still need to fall back on the ability to be able to say, hello, I'm Mark Simpson. I work for the Linguaphone Group. So you're revisiting a lot of the rules and paradigms you learned earlier in the class. This breeds familiarity for the student. The student looks at this learning and goes, I know some of this already. And that breeds confidence. And that's the one thing our system does more than any other system, is breed confidence to the student. Give the student confidence that what they're learning is sticking in their head. Now, to reinforce that it's stuck in their head, the other thing we do is test them. We test them 3 times through each level. So the methodology is, yes, you've got the secular syllabus, you've got a first-class curriculum, you've got great online material, but we have also got an awful lot of testing. So there's the progress tests, which occur after every 9 taught lessons or every 3 units. Within each unit of study, there's also a self-test. So the students can also test themselves as they're going along. So an awful lot of assessment that's going through. And the progress tests even include listening elements that are in there. And of course, when a student completes a level of direct English, we issue them a certificate. That certificate in itself, if you like, is still benchmarked against the CEFR. So if you show an employer or somebody else that you've got a direct English certificate level 3, that's telling them you're at the top end of A2 on the CEFR. You know, and it will allow you then to look at, for instance, different proficiency tests like IELTS. If you needed IELTS 6.5, as we can see on this slide, you knew you would have to at least graduate at level 6 from direct English. If you take your placement test and you're scoring level 2, you know you've got a lot of learning to do. Okay, you know, but it's a clear pathway. It's not a hazy, misty, foggy pathway. It's a very clear pathway to that IELTS 6.5. So it's a really solid curriculum. It's a methodology that is also highly flexible. You know, the methodology can be delivered in many different ways. It can be fully taught, as we do online, where we teach every single lesson. It can be a hybrid of self-study and then visiting a center to have a, if you like, a review session with a tutor. And lots of other different models in between. So that strength of that methodology, the flexibility of the methodology, comes from the strength of the syllabus. Great. Cheska, if you ever want to jump in and add anything to what I'm saying, please just jump in and interrupt me, because I do go on. Okay. And I assume, Persis, there will be Q&A at the end, so I haven't stopped. I'll just keep going. Great. Ashok, next slide, please, sir. Thank you. Wonderful. So yeah, you know, the whole aim of this is for you guys to come and join a successful group of partners, you know, particularly, you know, area developers in India. There's a huge opportunity for you here to carve out a slice of the country and make it your own. But, you know, you're not pioneers in any sense. Direct English has been around for several decades, you know, and it's achieved huge success already. But India is a huge opportunity for us, that's for sure. That's for sure. Ashok, next slide. Wonderful. So maybe I should hand over to you, Ashok, for the GTM strategy for India.
Thank you, Mr. Mark. So the opportunity for India market, basically we are looking for area partners, basically area developers. So this area developer will have the opportunity to develop their one direct school, and then they will have the opportunity to sub-franchise a set of units. So these set of units may range from minimum 5 units, and it may go up to 20. And then that is the minimum benchmark. And these area zones basically defined in the further slides that we will discuss. So the benefit to the franchisee and his role and responsibility, basically they can do a hybrid mode. So basically model to run the school, basically physical education center plus the online courses. But brand will get basically the one exclusive right for the territory or a particular region. And then they will have the combination of their own schools and a sub-franchise school. So area franchisee partner, they have to pay basically initial license fee, depending on the potential that they are opting for, plus their investment in the own center. And then area developer basically get 60% of the franchise fees from the sub-franchisees and revenue share. Area developer also gets basically the margin on the study material that will be supplied. And so it brings basically a strong profit venture for the franchisee partners. And partners will have the full hand holding and complete support in terms of store development and running the center. So now we are looking at the Indian market size. So even in India, basically, if you look, this is the country of the maximum languages. There are 120 languages basically that are spoken in India. And if you consider English, so English in India was started in like 250 years ago. But in terms of market size, it's still it's a very low market, because only the 10% of the Indian population, they basically English speaker. Like if you talk about the efficient speakers, or you can say proficient speakers, those could be like in a range of like 2 to 3%. And the rest basically 7-8% are basically, it's a kind of in India, there's a word called like English, so they speak mix or basically improper language. But the market size as of 2020 is of $5 billion, and that we can translate like 40,000 crore market. Now basically the market drivers for English language are quite huge. If you consider India, look at the map, basically there are multiple languages across the regions. So to communicate within or across the regions, you need a common language. That universal language is basically English. And that English basically in India, if you look at the market size, basically in terms of speakers, India gets only the 10%. So it's directly, but now it's a challenge again, why only 10%? That means it's still 90% of the population that is the potential basically learner for English language, right? And who can be the basically direct user for English language? So these can be your students, it can be your individuals, it can be your educational institute, government organizations, or corporate learners. And if you consider the age group, so we have the basically the program for the all age groups. So below 18 years or 18 to 20 years, or above 20 years, 30 years, or above 40 years. So there's opportunities for all to learn. And it brings the, again, opportunity for the learners to prepare for competitive exams, interviews, workforce, private workplaces, your blue collar white workforce. And even in the smaller towns, basically now people have the interest in basically speaking English. And nowadays, if you consider like people prefer more to speak in English, even our study material, courses, these all are designed in English. If you consider any your government work, clerical work, paperwork, everything, basically 99% is basically converted to English. So English has become a very essential tool for all age groups and all categories.
Yeah, absolutely. That's common around the world. That's not just India.
Yeah, absolutely. So now the market positioning for Direct English as a brand to position in India market, because we understand the market size, plus we also understand basically Indian mindset. They are very price sensitive. But if you look at the other players, basically they charge anything between 250 rupees per hour. It goes up to like 1,000 rupees per hour kind of fees they charge for their courses. And average size of batch has been considered like starting at 10 students per batch, and it goes up to 30-40 students per batch. So we are positioning ourselves just to bring the quality education at an affordable price. So we are positioning around like 250 rupees to 300 rupees a kind of per hour rate. So these are reverse calculated numbers from the fees converted to per hour cost. And the batch size we are keeping basically 10 to basically give the more quality education to our students. So basically that differentiate, and basically it creates our position in the market very strong. Now, financial snapshot. So basically we are looking for franchisee owned and franchisee operated model. They are basically area requirement for a school is around 2,000 square feet. And the investment for area developer is going to range from 25 lakhs to 60 lakh, is depending on the geography. And the franchisee fees that we are targeting 4 lakh rupees per center, and average return on investment is going to be 100% from the year one, right? And payback period is going to be less than a year for even a one single unit, or for area developer is definitely going to be less than a year. And so agreement period is going to be 5 years for a unit franchisee, but it comes to area developer, this agreement is going to be 10 years. The ideal partner we are looking for, so basically if you are educating English, find it's very rewarding. Basically we are looking for a very high energy partners who can develop the entire region, and they have a basically good market outreach. For individual centers, or you can unit franchisees, we have a set of criteria for, like, if partners who are already related or associated with the education and training business, or some like retired professor and teachers who have the basically ability to devote their time to educate students. Women entrepreneurs, again, with education background, so we want to support women empowerment. Again, industry professionals, like somebody is from corporate training background, is going to be a good partner. And especially after COVID, you will find like a lot of facilities are related to your tuition centers, education centers, or training centers. If they are underutilized, they can acquire a franchisee, so they can save some investment cost on infrastructure, and that's going to be a very profitable venture for these franchisee partners.
Yeah, and I think, Ashok, if I can add to that, just answers one of the questions in the Q&A. I think once you've got your agreement, your license, the other thing you can do is go to neighboring schools and sub-license it as a program in the school. So if you don't want to build physical centers necessarily next to you, you can sub-license educational establishments near you, like colleges or universities, to run it as a program in their site. I hope that answers the question that was raised earlier.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mah. So rollout plan that we are targeting. So these are the opportunities for the area developers. So these are 20, we have classified basically the whole geographic region into 20 clusters. So J&K, Ladakh, and Himachal has the potential to do one basically own center and plus 5 sub-franchise centers. UP and Uttarakhand will have the opportunity to do 15 centers. So the opportunity for the area developer to do their own school, and plus they can sub-franchise and the set of schools. Punjab, Chandigarh is again is a very golden market. It has the potential of 15, and so these are the basically minimum potential for the sub-franchisees, but not limited to. If area developer have the potential and they have the more good potential locations, they can develop more than 15 centers in the defined geography. So Haryana has the potential for 8 sub-franchisees. Delhi NCR again is a very good market. It has the potential for a 12 sub-franchise unit. Rajasthan 6, Gujarat got 8, Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh. Sorry, it's MP and Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. This area basically has potential of 8 units. If you consider Maharashtra basically apart from Mumbai city alone has the potential for 12 units, and rest of Maharashtra has the potential for another 20 units. So again, it's a very golden territory for area developers. Goa has the potential for 5 centers because government of Goa is already basically focusing on education sector. So their main priority in their budget and is basically education and health. These are the 2 sectors they are heavily focused and promoting. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana again. So Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, these two states will have the potential for 15 units, and Tamil Nadu has the potential for and the 12 units. Kerala here has the potential for 10 units. If you consider basically, this is your Odisha. Odisha has the potential for 5 units, followed by Bihar, 5 units, in Jharkhand, again 5 units. Then we have West Bengal here. This is again has the potential for 10 units, and the rest, basically your Northeast area, it has the potential for another 5 centers. Benefit to becoming our franchisee partners. So Mr. Mark, you want to take on?
Yeah, sure, great. Thank you, indeed, Ashok, for handling over that. I think as Mr. Kumar has clearly shown, the financial benefits, apart from your return on investment over time, is simply the fact that English language training right now, particularly in India, is a profitable business. You know, for quite a low investment, you can get returns both through your online, both through your physical platform. And I think particularly with the Delhi program, you can start getting payback from literally a minute after you sign the agreement. You could just go out, do a bit of marketing, get your first students, even before you put a first brick in the wall, just a little bit of marketing, you can start getting money back on your investment. I think certainly operationally, there's enough flexibility in the models, the delivery models for us. I think certainly the support from my colleague Cheska Whitcomb and her team provides you with a bit of edge, particularly in the marketing arena, you know, both digital and otherwise. I think certainly, you know, we run a very, very simple, if you like, licensing model. That doesn't mean it's not sophisticated. It just means it's very easy to deploy. You know, we're not out here to bamboozle you or you know, flummox you. We are a successful online English language franchise. We've been successful in many different markets, wealthy markets, not so wealthy markets. You know, it's yours to develop and tailor for your region. And I think, you know, the price points that you put out there are all supportive of a local business model rather than just like one size fits all. So, you know, there's a lot of flexibility, and you're accessing a world-class UK curriculum. You know, I think that's really key. This isn't homegrown. This is nothing, and not that there's anything wrong with homegrown, but this is something from the UK. This has not been watered down. It's not been made into a local product or anything like that. It's a pure UK product that, you know, we defend, we invest in, we upgrade on a regular basis. Cheska, do you want to throw anything in on the marketing side?
Well, just to touch on it, to say that we operate very closely with all of our partners worldwide from a marketing perspective. You know, marketing changes every day, and as we learn and develop, we share that with all our partners. So the toolkits, the assets, the branding guidelines, the campaigns that we run, we also provide to all of our partners to access, localize, and use at any stage in their marketing plan. So we're with you for the journey. Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed. So I think, you know, there are not any questions that will be asked today that we've not heard many times from many different parts of the world, and many different cases, use cases of English, how we've deployed the business, what customers we go for. And I think certainly one of the things I enjoy about Direct English is how I've seen, if you like, its usage, or its as an English language course, broaden out to students. As I say, we've got some markets that have started a new program called Direct English Teens. It's exactly the same learning content, but they've shifted to a much younger target market. And in some countries like Israel, like Saudi Arabia, it's bringing in whole new customers they haven't been able to go to before. So that's really exciting too. You know, there's something about 14-year-old kids that love studying what their parents would normally study. They love to role play as hotel managers. They love to role play as business owners. You know, they think it's very exciting to be involved in something like Direct English. So that's great too. But you know, it's a system that has a lot of adaptability. There are things you can't flex, and we won't let you flex them. But you know, a lot of it can be adapted to suit your needs. And that's it from my side. Ashok, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ma. And so franchisee partners going to have a huge benefit from basically world-class curriculum and basically their brand legacy, their knowledge, expertise, experience, and the complete hand holdings basically the franchisee partners going to receive. So that brings a huge benefit to the franchisee partners.
Yeah, and I think you know, Ashok raises a huge point there too. You know, whilst we support Ashok and Persis and the team in India from London, I think don't forget, you know, they're also in country. Their teams are there to support you as well. The level of handholding is quite extensive. So even if you're a first-time entrepreneur, you know, this is a model where you can be guided to start, if you like. It's not difficult for you to get going. I think this slide reiterates much of what we've already said. You know, particularly in the area of UK curriculum. You don't need yourself to have been a professor or a university academic or anything like that. Actually, I prefer you weren't. You know, this is something that a really good entrepreneur with a lot of passion for helping other people become, you know, self-sufficient and able in a language like English, which is the global English language of trade and commerce. So, you know, I think this is something that if you've got money to put behind your business, this is a great business to put behind. So certainly, I'd like to thank Ashok, Persis, Dr. Sonia for the invitation to come today. Very kind of you guys to allow us to attend today. Very much enjoyed the time here.
Thank you so much, Mark. And friends, I'll just like to answer, maybe summarize, you know, we have created a very detailed financial model for a unit franchisee and that for an area developer. Maybe I like to explain that. And if you want to make some points, please do that. While we have a detailed working, which, you know, we cannot do that in this session because that would take almost, you know, another half an hour to 45 minutes for us to explain that to you. But maybe some, you know, the broad numbers, which I want to share with everybody out here. And I saw some questions on how different is a unit franchisee to an area franchisee. And we saw some numbers in terms of also, you know, what it takes for a unit franchisee to invest. So friends, just to clarify, we have divided the entire territory in India about 20 odd zones. And the numbers that you see against every region is the minimum potential that we see in these regions. The opportunity as of now is that for an area developer, where we're looking at, you know, partners who can come and associate with Direct English as an area developer. Now, as an area developer, you know, I would say two responsibilities that you would carry is that of owning and operating one center of your own. And second is to develop the territory which is allocated to you, right? So which means one center you would allocate, would own and operate, and the other is sub-franchise rights that you get. Now, I'll also explain, you know, what it takes in terms of, you know, the financial numbers to become a area developer. So overall, you know, we have divided this opportunity into 20 regions, and the franchise fees for a unit is about 4 lakhs. So if you multiply that, so what we have done is we've, you know, the area franchise fee is multiplied by the number of sub-franchise opportunity that exists, you know, minimum in your territory. Let me take an example of J&K, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, where we have talked about overall opportunity size minimum 6. Which means one is owned and operated by a area developer, and he gets the right to sub-franchise 5 more units in the territory. So the franchise fee for a unit is 4 lakhs multiplied by 5 sub-franchise schools, which becomes 20 lakhs, which also means that your own school, the one school that you would own and operate, becomes free of franchise fee. So you only give 40% of that 20 lakhs. So 5 units multiplied by 4 units, 4 lakhs multiplied by 5 units in your region becomes 20 lakhs as the total fee that you can get from that location given to you Out of this 20 lakhs, what an area franchisee pays to become and own the territory is 40% of 20 lakhs, which is 8 lakh becomes your area franchise fee. Similarly, if I look at UP, Uttarakhand, which is a potential of 15, units to be opened in the territory, I multiply that by 4, which becomes about 60 lakhs as a, franchise fee overall, out of which a master franchisee pays only 40%, which is 24 lakhs. So by paying 40% of the overall opportunity, you become a area developer of that region. So that is what you would invest. So your investment would be territory fee plus your investment in the unit franchisee. So these are two investments you would make. I will also explain two things. What is the investment for a unit franchisee? And second, what are the revenue streams for an area developer? So as an area developer, you would have the following revenue streams that would come to you. Now, one is you get a percentage of the overall franchisees that you would sell in your region. So almost about 60% share of that. So if 4 lakhs is the franchise fee you take from the sub units under you, 60% of that comes to you. So that becomes your, a revenue stream. The second revenue stream for an area developer also becomes the royalty. So we have, a fixed fee and a percentage structure. So almost 3% of that. So overall structure is about 9% of the royalties that we charge. 3% of that, goes to an area developer. So that becomes your second revenue stream. And your third revenue stream becomes the entire supply. So there is also a kit which is given to every student who's enrolled. So there are, three main, I would say, revenue streams for an area franchisee, which is franchise fee. Second is royalty. Third is your supply kit. And fourth, I saw Madhuji ask a question on institutional, sales. So a unit franchisee will not do institutional. Only an area franchisee would do institutional, which means maybe, government or maybe, maybe any factory or a bigger, I would say, institutional badge they want to take. So that right will only be with the area franchisee. Now coming on, the investment, so to say, comparatively, when you look at the investment for a unit, this is a very small capex, so to say, where the overall outlay of the investment for putting a unit is almost about 17 odd lakhs. And we need about 2,000 square feet of space in putting up the entire center, which includes your reception. It includes 3 classrooms that you need to put inside the center, where 4 lakhs is the franchise fee for a unit franchisee. About 4 lakhs is something that we have taken towards your basic interior and civil work. Having said that, a lot of units, maybe if you have an access to a center which already has some civil work done and it's a plug and play, then you have all possibilities of reducing this cost. So 4 lakhs the franchise fees, 4 lakhs is the civil work interior cost that you would end up making. Then we also have, almost 4 lakhs on the equipment. We also have done a deep dive into the equipment specifications. So 4 lakhs goes into equipment. And then we have additional, 1.5 lakhs to set up the entire English lab. That is additional investment that one would end up making. And then we have, signage, another brand communication requirement and computer licensing, all put together another, I would say 2.5. All this becomes 17 odd lakhs as your initial capex. Now, in addition to the initial capex, you also need to have a provision of almost about, 5 to 6 working lakhs of working capital, of which 3 lakhs is towards your initial kit, which you will take as a, a franchise partner. And plus also working capital towards maybe a month and a half of the salaries that would go to that you need to give before the center starts. So all this investment put together, including your working capital initial capex, is almost about 21 to 22 odd lakhs. And for a unit franchisee, obviously revenue comes from the tuition fee. So what we have done, and we did see that graph also. So the average fee that we have taken is about 15 odd thousand. And this is something which is extremely competitive when we come to India, and also looking at the competition at all levels across different locations. So on an average in India, people, all these institutions are charging anything between 250 to about, 400 odd rupees. So we've kept our pricing very, very competitive, which is 250 to 300 odd rupees. And the average number of hours, where these programs would be conducted is about 60 odd thousand. So if you multiply 60 hours into this comes to average 15,000 as an average fee that we can take from any enrollment that we do in our center. Now, the second, thing is also to understand how many enrollments can one center do on an annual basis. When we look at the competition, and from our own experience as Franchise India, we worked with many players, smaller players also. And I was listening to Gaurav. We just had a team, the call before we got on the webinar. We worked for a company, some years back, and this is a small city, a big city, I would say, but not as big as, Delhi, Bombay, a city called Lucknow. Some years back, we worked for a client of ours who took about, 4 centers in that city, and all these 4 centers combined had almost about, 5,000 students in a city like Lucknow. And this is, I'm talking about only one, brand that took 4 units, a multi-unit franchise. And now what we have done is, we've taken an average of about, 540 enrollments in 1 year. The very first year, we have kept it 540. The average student enrollment in any such, coaching center, which is English learning center, is almost, I would say 700 to about 1,500 on the higher side. So we have done a very progressive structure where year 1, we have taken, 540 students enrollment in the entire year. Year 2, we have moved to 630. And by the end of 5th year, we have moved the number to 900. While many locations, this number would even be bigger. Maybe the first year could be 20-30% higher than what I have predicted. So we have taken a very conservative structure in terms of our even enrollments that we want to do in a year. So for a unit franchisee, your income comes from registration fee 1. So every student who gets enrolled will pay a small registration fee of 1,200 rupees. Second would be the tuition fee, which is averaging to about 15,000. And third becomes your, kit that you supply to the student, which is almost about, 300,000 rupees, which every student would, give. So based on these, we have, created the entire, business or unit economics also, both for a unit franchisee and for a area developer. Friends, I'll request all of you, anybody who has and wants to come on a one-to-one call to understand these financials, because we would like to explain that only to qualified people who are looking at maybe partnering with us. And I'm seeing some questions which came, and some of our friends who even raised their hands, as we took them through the entire presentation. We would be happy to share the entire deck with you, but financial numbers is something that we would like to discuss maybe one-to-one based on the city, based on the profile. And if you come from related experience in running and operating such kind of centers, or having marketing capability, any infrastructure that you own, do feel free to reach out to us. We've also shared our number in the hotline, our hotline number and email ID, which I'll request Persis also to put in the chat box for everybody to take a note of. And great. So Mark, I'll take some questions while friends on the financials. I request all of you, if you have any questions on the financials, please reach out to Persis. She is heading the entire project for Direct English. And we like to book maybe a half-an-hour session with all of you to take through the numbers and also ask some important questions so that we can qualify you as a prospective partner with us. So Mark, now, I'll see if I think you did answer, some questions, and there's some basic questions like, are you offering IELTS and TOEFL, as a...
Yeah, I think one thing to be clear there, we're in the business of teaching languages. That's always there's a conflict with the testing business. But, the testing business, there are test centers throughout country, and IELTS and TOEFL are some. Direct English will prepare the students for IELTS and TOEFL. I would always suggest that they also do a test prep course. We don't supply those test prep courses for one reason. There's a lot of free stuff on the internet. They can do lots of free test prep on the internet. Test prep is it's just so easy to do. Even if you're, our teachers here, for instance, we have a conversational program called Triple L, which is delivered online, and that supports a lot of the speaking requirements for IELTS and Cambridge First Certificate and things like that. But that's very much the teachers knowing what to teach rather than us having something for the test prep. Also, testing changes. IELTS is losing a little bit of currency. There are new testing systems that are coming into place. I think, test prep it's easy to do. If you want to do it, you can add it into your direct English center, but it's not something we supply.
Helpful, Mark. So friends, I'll quickly summarize what we discussed. And since we come to, closing our session today, my request to all of you would be kindly reach out to us. We'll put a hotline number or email ID. Persis is leading the entire project, and we are more than happy to come on a discussion or a meeting with anybody who would like to have more information. And so Direct English Friends is a global leader in the English language. They bring with them 120 years of experience. They have presence not only in their home market, but more than 20 countries across the globe where they're successfully operating. They have a proven, curriculum and a methodology. The entire curriculum is designed by Louis Alexander, the founder himself. And it is said he's the reason, Direct English actually exists. And he also is somebody who made it to the iconic Guinness Book of, World Record for selling the greatest number of books by an individual author in a single, in the year 1977, which was almost about 4.7 million books worldwide, that were sold by him. On the opportunity, we are currently looking at area developers, I would say, and the area developer would have the responsibility of developing the territory and opening one unit himself. And if I talk on the commercials, this would be anything between 8 lakhs to 25 lakhs for taking the area development rights, along with the investment on one center, including the investment on the one center and the area development rights. So almost, if I talk about the commercials, it would start from maybe 25 lakhs for a territory which is maybe 5 odd unit potential, to 60 odd lakhs locations which are, I would say, 15, 20, so to say. One more thing which I would like to add, while we have segregated all the 20 zones that we want to give, but we are more than happy to do any tweaking. If anybody wants to club these territories together, we're more than happy to even, discuss clubbing these territory, provided we understand that the partner would have a potential to do justice with a bigger territory. So we leave our details here, friends, and we request all of you to reach out to us for any information that you want us to. I will also leave my email ID. Anybody who wants to write to us can do that. And I I thank everybody for being with us today. And I also understand a lot of people have registered for the webinar. Our teams at Franchise India would take time between tomorrow and the day after to reach out to everybody who has shown interest in the last 10 odd days. And a deck would be sent to everybody who wants to perhaps go through, followed by a slot that we would like to reserve for you to take all of you through the detailed financial working that we have done. And I thank you, Mark. I thank you, Cheska, for being with us this evening.
My pleasure.
Directly from London. And we really look forward to making a very big success of Direct English in the Indian market. And before I close, I'll request Mark, you, Cheska, to maybe say a few words, and then over to Persis for the closing comments.
Great. Well, Sonia, thank you for all of that. And yeah, certainly, I think if you're serious, a good session in private, one-to-one with Persis, Sonia on the financials, particularly for the area developers, is a very key next step. And I think, like all businesses, this should be walked into soberly and seriously, because, at the end of the day, this is something you want to be successful at. I think we've got a lot to get you on the way, but a lot of it still requires your energy, your input, and your investment. But I know you've got a great team in India to help you bring it all together. So do reach out to Persis and Sonia, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. It was wonderful going through the presentation, understanding, and of course, it was quite informative, and appreciate that you have built that confidence in us. So we look forward for better,
no doubt.
I would say best, to move forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Persis.
Thanks, Jessica. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ashokji.
Jessica, your last words. I think
I think Mark said it so well, but I would just reiterate that another conversation will hopefully only just ignite a bit more enthusiasm, passion, and ideas in what you have already. So I reiterate what Mark says. Another conversation feels like a natural next step.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so
Right.
much, everyone,
you.
and
Not at all.
for being with us. Have a great evening and a great day ahead, Mark and Jessica.
Namaste,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you so much.
Goodbye.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Thank you. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.